Hi, I'm Mark Gatterdam, one of the owners of Hardwood Artisans. This is one of my partners, Kevin Carlson, and this is Hector, his assistant. We're going to show you how to put together a rather large assembly. It's so large that we're actually having to leave parts off. This is a slope with nightstand here, and it's what we call a platform pedestal bed, band and pedestal here. We're going to take this step by step. There's a lot of parts. This is not a difficult thing to put together, but it can be sort of time consuming. I would estimate that if you're doing this for the first time, it would probably take you about an hour and a half to put this together. So, that being said, I'm going to go over some of the hardware we have for this assembly. And we'll just go over the hardware as we're putting it together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to connect the nightstand to the slope. And we're only showing one here because of space limitations that we have. First thing I want to point out is that there are two lengths of these connector bolts. The longer connector bolts go down here where the band connects to the headboard. The shorter ones are for this connection. The shorter ones being, they're about 1.25 inches long. There's a male and a female part to each connector. So when you put the two together, we want to be at about 1.5 inches, which is correct for this connection. The other one's a little longer because the band is thicker. So that being said, in order to use these connector bolts, you need these wrenches, which we provide. They're 5mm Allen wrenches. And there's two of them. There's one for the male side of this bolt and one for the female side. And this is how you will tighten them up. I'm going to go over one other point before we get started. This is your slope nightstand, and behind this drawer in the back is a power supply and a phone jack extension, and in order to access it you have to take this drawer out. There is a grommet right here that pops out. There's a hole here, which becomes a wire chase. So you can have a phone here or your alarm clock. Once you put this assembly in place, it's kind of difficult to move it around. So we have provided basically extensions to your phone and power supplies. Turn this around so you can see. We have a hole here to run the wires in and out of, and we have here banded up. Here's your phone extension and here's your power extension, and you simply plug them in to the receptacles in the wall. Hopefully we've considered everything so that you don't have to move this assembly once it's in place. That being said, I'm going to let these guys go ahead and show you how to put this together. So let me step out of here a little bit and let them muscle it in position. It's going to be easier if there are two people doing this, in part because of the reach down into the slope and into the nightstand. There's going to be, depending on the craftsman, there will be 3 or 4 connecting bolts on each side. There's a little bit of play in these holes, a little bit of play in the bolts. So the job here is to get the two as flush as possible. Now, one thing I wanted to say about that is that there are leveling feet in these cabinets. And I'll show you what that looks like just as soon as Hector steps out. He's almost done there. So to tighten this up, you'll have a Allen wrench on one side and an Allen wrench on the other.
Just loose.
So they're going to do this top, and they want to make sure that they're flush here at the front. These were sanded as a unit, so it should line up. In order to assist you with this, if you have a relatively uneven floor or maybe a tile floor, what you want to do, and Edwin, I'm going to want you to zoom in on this. That's good, Kevin. That's good. That's tight enough. You don't need them all. Good. Hector, let me get you out of the way. And Edwin, please come into the shot. Inside the cabinet down here, we have leveling feet. That's simply a flathead screwdriver. You drop it into the hole, and you turn the foot. And clockwise will raise that foot, and counterclockwise will lower it. There are leveling feet here. There are also leveling feet inside of this cabinet. So if you're having difficulty flushing up this seam here, you can adjust the cabinet accordingly by using the leveling feet. And you'll want to take up the slack or variation if the piece is not touching on one particular corner. You should adjust the leveling feet to take the pressure off of that corner. You have your hatch doors. Be careful with these. They can shear off from the weight when you open them at this point. This piece has been designed so that when you open the hatch door, it hits the mattress to cradle the hatch door. Let's see, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to place the pedestal down and assemble the band. You guys do that. I'm going to go ahead and put these drawers back in the unit here. Okay, there's nothing unique about the pedestal. This one has drawer access on both sides. You may have one that has drawers only on one side, so you'll need to orient it one way or the other. If it is symmetrical, then the only thing I would tell you to do is pick the end that you like better at the foot. Basically at this point, they're just going to lay the band members down. Now we purposely split this band. This is a queen size bed. We took it apart so we can show you the connection point. We normally will ship it assembled. It's safer that way. If it had to come apart in order to fit in the space, we'll show you how it goes back together. We have, as you see, dowels here, and they're just going to slide them together. And now the next thing that they're going to do, let me grab one of those from you, and the rod. Thank you. So what we have here is a rather unusual looking assembly, and it goes together like this. And the tool for tightening and loosening is actually just a little steel rod. So I'm going to want you to zoom in here. Kevin, go ahead and put that in. We've got mortises and round holes in the inside of the band. Can you see Hector over there? All right. Hector, can you raise your head a little bit so that Edwin can get a sort of a better shot of that? So basically, you just get it seated, get the collar set, and tighten the rod until it's very firm. You might actually end up bending the rod slightly. That's not a problem. All right, the next thing to do is to connect the band to the pedestal. And basically that's just done by these mending plates. Now the mending plates are going to be set on purpose at angles, opposing angles, rather than straight up and down. The reason for that is if they're at angles, the band won't shift on the pedestal. So we've actually done that on purpose. What we're going to run are just some 3/4 inch number 6 screws. The plates will already be mounted on the pedestal, so you only have to run the 4 screws in the top. And you're running it to the inside of the band at the head and the foot. There you go, Kevin. Hector. When you do this, you want to make sure to take a measurement, last check, that the band is the same distance from the pedestal on this side as it is on that side. We have already set this bed up twice, so we know it is. I'm going to step out. Spin around here. Okay, you set the drill back there. Now, what we want to do is connect this assembly to that assembly. And I think you can see this in the camera shot. We've pre-drilled, thanks Kevin, a series of holes for the longer connector bolts, which are up on the slope top there. Are you zooming in on that, Edwin? Okay, good. The longer connector bolts. It's the same type of connector bolt as before. They're just a little longer. And we've already pre-drilled it, so you simply just have to slide up to the slope and go inside the slope and bolt it up. It's easy but awkward. So I'm going to step out a little bit here, let these guys maneuver it into position. There you go. And again, be very careful with the hatch doors. At this point, they're fairly delicate. See how Kevin opens it up and supports it with his leg there. Right. Okay, now that you've got the band connected to the slope, the last thing to be done is to put in the adjustable shelves. Kevin, grab one of the ones with the hand looms in it. This is called the lower shelf. It has what we refer to as a hand loom, which literally, this is how you remove the shelf. The upper shelf has a bevel right here on the front to match the slope of the front of the unit. Inside, I'm going to set this right here. Inside of the slope, you'll find a series of pinholes. And all you have to do is set these little brass pins in the holes. Kevin's going to set them up. Go ahead and put all of yours in over there, Kevin. How many more? Okay. These shelves are not adjustable. The reason is the lower one is flush is flush with this, providing you seasonal storage down here. It's utilizing the dead space behind the slope. And because of the angle, the upper one is just evenly spaced. It's not possible to be adjustable because of the angle. Here you go, Kevin. So it just drops in. You have your seasonal storage below. The upper one, the bevel is to the front. And there you have it. Do the same thing on this side. And you'd be done. The last part here will be the decking. That's to say the area that covers this openness for your mattress support. We have, in the case of a queen, we have 6 sheets. Kings will have 9. The other beds will have 6. Twins will have 4. Right. It'll be pretty apparent when you go. The holes in these pieces of decking are for your installation convenience, like so. You'll lift and set into the dado, or this groove at the head and the foot. Right here, the first 2 sheets. The trick here, or the point here, is you want to make sure that the decking lands in the center of the slats. And you see Kevin setting it there. In the case of the queen, the smaller pieces go at the 2 ends. I'll take that. And the larger ones go in the center, obviously. Now, if you'll notice, there's a fair amount of play here. We purposely don't make the decking too tight. If it is too tight, it has a tendency to squeak. So we do leave a fair amount of play in there. This is ready for a mattress. The last part to do is the drawers. Hector, can you grab those drawers, bring them over here? We'll go over this point. All right, so this particular unit is going to be getting drawers. On the bottom are some letters. And this has an L, and this has an R, and this hopefully has a M. That's left, middle, and right. We grain match the front of the drawer. In other words, we cut this out of a single board for a nicer look. So when you place them underneath the bed, you want to reorient the grain match, and we've marked them under there to tell you how to do that. These are caster drawers, so they will basically just find their home under the pedestal. There's a backstop, so you can't push them in too far. That's all there is to it. Thank you for the order. If you have any questions, call our 800 number and talk to myself, Mark, or Kevin Carlson. The 800 number is 877-999-9663. And again, thank you for your order, and I hope you enjoy your furniture.